Good evening, Sharks fans. The Sharks lose Game 2 for a third consecutive series and go off to St. Louis with a tied series 1-1. I am your host, Eric Landi. I am joined by Al Martinet. Al, how are you doing this evening?
Good, very good. How about yourself?
Well, I've been better, but a split on home ice once again for the Sharks. Kelsey, how are you doing this evening? And welcome. Is this your second time on the broadcast this postseason, or your first?
First in the postseason because we had some technical issues the last time.
Yeah, well, you know what? You kind of look at this game and it just screams missed opportunity by the Sharks. You're wondering maybe are they going to bounce back going to St. Louis? And we'll see. Sharks need to win one on St. Louis ice to get that home ice advantage back. So we'll see how they will do that. But if you want to be a part of the show, use the hashtag tealtownusa. Follow us on Twitter at tealtownusa. You can also go ahead and follow us on the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, and YouTube chat, where we, of course, will be following along. So quickly, going over a little bit of a game recap. Al, what were your first takeaways from the game tonight?
I thought the Sharks started off good, very much so, but they just couldn't get that first goal. But I thought they had a lot of shots towards the net, good energy. But that crucial first goal really did change the game. St. Louis does play a lot like Vegas, and St. Louis, they do like to sit back and cause a lot of turnovers. Sharks tonight, they got 13 takeaways, but that was a lot after there was a 2-2 game, and we'll get into that later. But not getting the first goal was a huge factor tonight.
Yes, it was, and it's always really a crucial goal, really. So, as Al was saying, they do get the first goal. I am pulling up Game Center right at the moment. That first goal was scored 2 minutes, 34 seconds into the first period by Jaden Schwartz, his 9th of the playoffs. Tarasenko factoring in on this goal with the primary assist, and Joel Edmondson with the secondary assist. And the Sharks took a tripping penalty on Tomas Hertl 4 minutes into the first period. The Sharks go ahead and get a power play 6 minutes, 34 seconds in. That power play looked anemic. Actually, quite frankly, the entire Sharks power plays, in this game looked just out of sync tonight. Kelsey, I mean, let's go to you. What was your thoughts on the power play tonight for the Sharks, and what do you think kind of their issues have been?
I thought everybody kind of felt flat-footed. I didn't feel like we had a whole lot of speed anywhere in our game tonight at all. I don't really know what the issue is. I just think we just came out and expected the game to kind of go like Game 1 did, and just kind of fell back and just couldn't get up and moving.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. You just felt kind of very stagnant. There wasn't a lot of movement on the power play. And quite frankly, the thing that really stood out to me were the zone entries. They were just completely off tonight. You saw Erik Karlsson actually shifted up onto that first power play unit. Brent Burns was pushed off of the first power play unit, and Erik Karlsson inserted. So it was Karlsson, LeBanc, Pavelski, Couture, and and Tomas Hertl on the first unit. On the second unit, it was Joe Thornton. It was Evander Kane, Timo Meyer, Brent Burns, and Mark-Edward Vlasic, I believe, on that second power play unit. Oh, boy. And you know what? To me, again, it just looked anemic. It didn't look like there was a lot of urgency to the power play. And quite frankly, passing up great opportunities to shoot the puck. I just thought it was pass to pass, and nobody was willing to kind of get in front of the goalie. Nobody was really kind of willing to go to the dirty areas. They were kind of all just very stationary and just looking for those deflections and tip-ins rather than trying to really screen Jordan Binnington. So really, I mean, tonight for me, it will be about missed opportunities, and especially on that power play. So, Al, do you want to chime in on that?
I mean, Sharks only have 26 shots on goal, and I think that's a playoff low. And the shots just weren't that great tonight. A lot of corners, a lot of just aiming for shots that were highlight goals. I don't know if it was just the game plan going for Bennington's corner, but not a great offensive night for the Sharks.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you there. And, practically for the rest of the first period, not really much doing for the Sharks. I think at the latter stages of that first period, they started to perk up just a little bit, but still shots on goal, 9 for San Jose, 6 for St. Louis. I'm not really sure what the scoring chances were in that first period as far as high danger chances, but the Sharks just really kind of one and done tonight, really with the weak zone entry. So going into that second period, the St. Louis Blues, score again 4 minutes, 16 seconds into the second period. Vince Dunn with his second of the playoffs. O'Reilly and Perron with your assists. It's 2-0 St. Louis. And you're thinking, okay, the Sharks have outplayed in that second period the Blues. However, it really starts to look like frustration setting in just a little bit. Marcus Sorensen takes a phantom interference call, and we'll go through each penalty one by one tonight. But really, if you're going to call that interference, then I hope we're going to see 10 or 12 power plays a game. I don't care if they go either way, but you know what? If that is the standard for interference going forward, I expect to see a lot of power plays this series. Kelsey, what did you see on that?
I thought it was a super weak call. I kept watching the replay and I was like, what did you just call? Because that makes zero sense to me. I kind of feel like there were a lot of calls after that or no calls that should have been called that weren't. A lot of we'll get to the high stick on Timo Meyer, I'm sure, but that was actually a shark stick that hit Timo. So that was an unfortunate good call. No call. However, I felt that there was a lot of calls that should have been called and a lot of calls that weren't called. So the roughing tonight was a little off to me, but you can't blame the refs.
Yeah,
exactly. You got to fight through it. And Al,
Landi,
quickly, what did you see on it?
I was going to ask you, what did you think of Jones's play tonight?
Jones to me looked okay. And I'll tell you which goal that I really had a problem with. I really had a problem with that fourth goal, and maybe the second goal. And to me, the thing that I am seeing with Jones is overplaying the puck and being, committing to a puck too soon. It seemed like he was really trying to push off and really try to anticipate the shot more than being just a little less aggressive and kind of letting the play come to him. It seemed like he was almost forcing it. So confidence-wise looked okay. Didn't look bad. But again, I thought the commitment and the committing to the butterfly and the committing to one particular side of the goal crease really bit him tonight, because it was twice against the green goals tonight that could have been prevented had he just not been so aggressive.
On that second goal, it looked like he had no sight of that puck. Bear in mind, there are 3 people that screened him, 1 Sharks player and 2 St. Louis Blues players. But of course, I thought Jones just completely lost the puck. And that's a goal that we've seen plenty and plenty of times in the regular season, that long distance shot from the point where he's just had no confidence of saving. Gotta wonder if St. Louis is going to keep on trying that shot from the point over and over again.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Kelsey, you're the goaltending guru. What did you see from Martin Jones tonight? What kind of breakdowns did you kind of want to go through on his play tonight?
I felt that I kind of have to disagree. I felt that he looked pretty solid for the most part. I do believe that he did overcommit on the second and the fourth goal, on trying to overplay the puck. But we have definitely seen worse from Martin Jones in the playoffs. And we've definitely seen better Martin Jones in the playoffs so far. So I really think and I really hope that heading into St. Louis that he just kind of gets back into his own routine. Maybe getting on the road will kind of help him smooth out a little bit. And hopefully he just kind of decides to settle back into his own routine and getting back into playing the puck and being more relaxed. I felt that he was kind of seemed kind of flustered tonight from the get-go. Not only particularly on the second goal, I felt that he just looked really flustered and upset prior to the goal happening. So I don't know if there's something going on today or what, but I just felt that he just looked off all night.
Yeah, no, I totally echo those same points. Again, he has been worse. I mean, tonight his stat line reads 12 saves of 16 shots for an .840 save percentage. 21 of 25. I was looking at even strength. All of his goals coming up on even strength tonight. Yeah, and to me, again, it's just a little bit overcommitting to the shooter and not letting the play kind of come to him. And you know what? Definitely could be a result of some frustration, just trying to front the puck a little bit more. But getting back into that second period, Marcus Sorensen takes that interference call from Joel Edmondson. The Sharks are thinking, oh boy, it's going to be one of those kind of nights. And then Logan Couture with the unassisted goal at 4:55, that would be a shorthanded goal. And you think, okay, maybe the Sharks are just kind of adjusting to a 6 p.m. start, and we're going to start to see them roll out a little bit. Al, what did you see on the goal?
Yeah, he adjusted. He had to wait for the 7:30 start time. Give Logan a lot of credit. He's been the Sharks MVP next to Jones and Hurdle. But a great shot, a great defensive play, leaving out his stick to get a deflection, and a nice breakaway goal with the 1-2 play past Bunnington. This is honestly one of the best playoff seasons he's had, and that's saying something for the playoff career he's had in general with the Sharks.
Yeah, no, I agree. Very, very much a clutch player in the playoffs for the Sharks. Kelsey, what did you see on the penalty kill tonight that was working really well for the Sharks? Because this wasn't the only chance that they had.
No, I felt that they stood up really well at the blue line, prevented a lot of clean entries, swarmed around a lot of players. I did feel that they overplayed the puck a little bit on the PK, maybe a little bit too aggressively on some points. However, I really liked watching them stand up at the blue line and make them make the dump and chases.
For sure. I think you were seeing a really, really good system for once the Blues, once they tried to attack that blue line, the Sharks really held them up and really stood up, which was good. They were clogging up the neutral zone as well. If St. Louis had to go back into their own zone and collect the puck and then come back through, it seemed like the Sharks were really, really stymieing them. So yeah, I mean, going from that shorthanded goal, you started to feel the momentum shift a little bit. And then Logan Couture, again, with his 13th of the playoffs, Timo Meier with the assists. It is now a tie game 2-2. San Jose looks to be in control of this second period. And then 16:34 into the second period, Robert Bortuzzo scores the go-ahead goal and what would be eventually the game-winning goal. And Joel Edmondson again factoring in on the scoring. Bozak as well having an assist. So the Sharks go down into the second period, end the second period, with a 3-2 on the losing end of a 3-2 score. But you figured you liked overall the play in the second period. It just felt like the Sharks really couldn't capitalize on some of those chances that they did have. Jordan Binnington playing well. But unfortunately, they head into the second intermission down 3-2. Of course, they also had to kill off another penalty by Brendan Dillon for icing the puck over the glass.
Dilly.
Yeah, dilly is for sure. So going into the third period, we're expecting, the Sharks to kind of really push back. And to be honest with you guys, and guy and gal, to be honest with you, they didn't look like a team that was staring down a 3-2 deficit. They looked passive. And Al, I'm going to go to you on this. What did you see in that third period? And what do you think, the mentality is going into that third period?
This looked a lot like round 2 when the Sharks were playing too highlighty, playing for the highlight play, going for the long center ice passes, causing a lot of turnovers. And frankly, they just weren't making the easy play. I know that's an easy thing to say, but honestly, just shoot the puck at the net. This is a backup goaltender, or you can't really say he's a backup goaltender. Unproven goaltender. Just shoot the puck at him. This is something Dallas didn't really do, even in their own series. They usually just went the flashy pass with just shoot the puck at him. We have a better forwards, in my opinion. Just shoot the puck at him. And I'm trying to find the forward stats. I'm trying to find the shot stats this period, but it felt like the shots only had 4 shots the entire period, and that's being generous.
So the shot breakdown, for that second period was 9-6 in favor of St. Louis, although the Sharks looked like they dominated a little bit more on the possession play. Yeah. In the third period, it was 10-11 in favor of the Sharks. But look, I mean, you only muster 11 shots and you allow St. Louis to have 10 shots on goal in that third period. Not great. And you know what? The line that I circle tonight as the weak line on the ice had to be the Thornton line. Yep. Thornton looked absolutely gassed. Sorensen, got rocked, and you could definitely tell there was something off in his game. LeBanc seemed to be the strongest, player on the ice on that line, but I don't know what exactly Peter DeBoer is thinking there, but you keep rolling out Thornton's line. Doesn't seem like much was getting done until he shifted Donskoy for Sorensen on that third line. Kelsey, what did you see overall from Jumbo's line tonight? What was making him ineffective?
I thought Jumbo looked really, really slow. Jumbo always looks slow, but he looked really slow. He got his pocket picked a couple times that I felt were really easy. And got beat a few times off the blue line that I just felt was just unacceptable. I liked the trade-off for Sorensen for Donskoy. I felt that kind of kicked up the line a little bit. However, I just kind of felt that they just looked flat, felt flat, slow, just kind of couldn't get, none of the lines could get moving tonight.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Al?
So I was at game one, and in the first period, Joe Thornton took a nasty fall, and it was no contact. And if you look at it, he's kind of lingering. And ever since then, he's been a little bit slower. And even in this game today, he was a little bit slower, and he didn't seem like he had enough energy. He didn't look like he had enough puck control down the boards. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking into anything, but I don't know. If for me to insinuate that is kind of mean and all, but like, yeah.
Well, you know what? It's interesting that you say that because if you guys didn't check out Hockey Central at noon today, Kevin Kurz went ahead and had an interview and basically said that Joe Thornton fought a broken toe, was fighting off a broken toe during the season. So you're wondering, okay, there's some foot issues going on. Kevin also said he had a foot infection in addition to the knee infection that we all heard about. So again, there's some things going on with the feet. That's really, really key to a hockey player's speed. Maybe there's some kind of lingering thing going on with Joe's feet. But you know what? Again, his line just not getting it done tonight.
We do know that we do know his legs are still recovering. These are still ACL and MCL on both legs. But I'm gonna move away from Thorin. I was impressed with Kane both game one and game two. He is gonna make or break the Sharks this series. So,
Mike, you know what? I totally disagree. I thought tonight the Sharks needed something from Evander Kane. He brought a little bit of physicality, but he looks really passive, really like not driving the net and really giving up great opportunities to shoot the puck. I mean, Kelsey, what are you seeing the same thing here, or are you siding with Al on this one?
No, I'm 100% with you. I can't hear Al, so
yeah.
I have no idea what he's saying. But no, I totally disagree, and I'm totally with you. I was really looking for something from Evander Kane. I really haven't seen much from him this playoffs, except for I was really hoping that he was going to bring it tonight, and he just didn't. He was super flat. I felt like he was kind of slow. He wasn't being physical like Evander Kane was in the regular season. I just feel like I think he needs a road game. He always plays better on the road. So I think he needs a road game to just kind of clear his head, get away, and just kind of chill out.
Yeah, you know what? I agree there as well. This is a guy who was brought in to try and be a difference maker. Right now, let's drill into his season so far in the playoffs. But again, a guy who's a -1 tonight. He's got one shot on goal. He's got one hit, and he's almost got 19 minutes of ice time, and he's that invisible. I mean, not great. And here's a stat line so far. He's got 15 games played in the playoffs this season, 2 goals, 6 assists for 8 points, a -3, and 45 penalty minutes. One of his goals one of his assists coming on the power play. So, I mean, his shooting percentage is sitting at 4.4%. I mean, this has got to break.
It's completely unacceptable for someone who is supposed to be brought in to be the difference maker to kind of maybe take over for Pavsy when he inevitably does not come back after the offseason. I don't foresee the Sharks re-signing him. I think he's going to want too much money. But I wanted more from him, and I didn't get it, and I was really disappointed.
Who are you talking about?
Kane.
Oh, he's been locked up for a while.
Yeah, he's locked up, but Kelsey is saying is that he was brought in to be a difference maker, right? And for a guy for Pavelski who is trying, is going into his contract negotiation. You're absolutely right, both of you. I feel like, this is a guy again that needs to step up his game. He needs to have a breakout game, and you hope that game 3 he's going to bring it. But right now, I don't know if it's something that he's hurt. To me, he hasn't looked the same since that fight with Ryan Reeves. After that fight, I don't know if he broke his hand or if there was something going on there, but he does not look like the same player to me.
And I hate to bring this up, but hockey is a very mental sport, and I don't feel that Evander has really been the same since his loss of his child with his wife. So, and with Mother's Day being on Sunday, I think that maybe there was some more of emotional that goes into it. Heaven forbid. I don't want to bring that up. However, I do think that that does play into how you play.
I totally agree. I definitely think that the Mother's Day aspect and him losing a child is just it's heartbreaking, and you've got to figure that that's also got to be there's going to be some kind of mental effect there. So that's a great observation, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was something to that. I mean, that being said, is it time now to shake up the lines? Is it time to maybe slot him down with Jumbo, or maybe even slot him up with Logan to trying to get him going and bring Nyquist back down with Pavs and Hurdle? Do you think it's sometime, some kind of shakeup is needed, or do you feel like he can just kind of sort his own game out? Kelsey?
I really like the Nyquist with Hurdle. I think they have great chemistry together, so I think those two should be stuck together like glue. But I think that throwing Evander up with the Couture line, I think that might be a good decision. I could also see him getting dropped down to the 4th line and just kind of waiting for him to break out. I mean, look at what it did for Donskoy earlier in the season, going down to the 4th line. However, we haven't seen a lot from Donskoy lately either. So, you got I don't really know what to do with him. I don't really know what the answer is. But I do think that it's time to throw the lines in the blender and kind of see what sticks.
Al, I'm going to pose the same question to you. What do you do with Evander Kane? A guy, again, is super critical to the aspirations of this team. Where do you see him fitting in? Do you think a shakeup is needed, or do you want to keep him on the same line and let him kind of work through his own issues right now?
I think you leave them as they are for one more game, but if the Sharks go down 2-1, then you potentially throw in Kane with Thornton and see if you get Thornton Kane, that combo going. But then you have to deal with either Sorensen or LeBanc, and Sorensen seems like the only good pairing for Sorensen is a Thornton. So the question is, what do you do with LeBanc? Because he's only a good offensive weapon. His defense is a liability, especially in the playoffs. And so there has been a couple line combinations with Couture, LeBanc, and we've seen Timo sometimes. Like, very much, he's a limited weapon we've seen. So,
well, let me pose this to you guys, and this might be an interesting idea if the Sharks do go down 2-1. What about reuniting the super line of Hurdle, Couture, and Meyer together? You load those 3 up to try and generate the bulk of the offense through them. It seems like St. Louis is having a hard time keeping up with the defensive strategy of the Sharks. Maybe you just overmatch them with the super line and, kind of trickle down from there. Have Pavs center the second line, and see what kind of damage you can do that way. What do you guys think of that, Al?
You win with 3 lines. You get whatever you can out of your 4th. I think you just stay whatever you got right now. The Sharks won 5-2 game 1. I think you go with the same strategy.
Uh-oh. Kelsey didn't like something that Al was saying, so she muted him.
What are you
Kelsey,
doing?
Kelsey has something to say, so Kelsey, we'll go to you.
I have a really hard time with super lines. I feel like scoring should come from all over the place. I really like depth scoring. And so I really am not a fan. I don't like it.
All right. Well, the lady will be heard.
Literally.
You will not deny her. And now Al's muting her. Oh my goodness. So last but certainly not least, because that was kind of the back-breaking goal, Oscar Sundquist, like I was saying, had the fourth goal with an against the grain kind of goal. Steen and Pietrangelo with the assists there. It was 4-2, and that was scored 16:52 in the third. That really sealed it up for St. Louis. The Sharks did have extended time in the zone after that goal was scored with the goalie pulled. However, it was just a little bit too late. And really, I mean, honestly, didn't really look all that dangerous besides the Timo, bat out of the deflection kind of bat out of the air deflection, and Jordan Binnington just, being at the right place at the right time, I guess. But, you look at the stat line tonight, the big outlier is Joe Thornton with a -2, Evander Kane with a -1, Kevin LeBanc with a -3. Got to get more from those players if you expect to move any further in the playoffs. Al, just quickly on those kind of stats. I mean, anything else to add?
There's really not much. I'm kind of just waiting for LeBanc to show up. He goes through these droughts off and on throughout the regular season. I'm waiting on Kelsey to mute me. If you do, but this happens in the regular season. This happens in the playoffs. LeBanc has gone through these droughts, and luckily, Game 7, Round 1, LeBanc, we've seen at his peak, and this is sadly his worst. He goes through weeks without a point, and I have a feeling he's in the middle of it. And hopefully he picks up some steam sooner or later, but he's not going to get kicked out of the lineup. He has a lot of upside, and he is one of the best forwards on the team.
Well, quickly kind of also boiling through some more stats. Some eye openers to me is Joe Pavelski without a shot on goal tonight. Look at Marcus Sorensen also without a shot on goal tonight. Tomas Hertl without a shot on goal tonight. And again, I mean, these are players that need to produce. Erik Karlsson with 4 shots on goal tonight. Brent Burns with 5 shots on goal tonight. The ice time on the defensive side is a lot more distributed. 26 minutes for Brent Burns, or actually almost 27 minutes, excuse me. 25-24 for Erik Karlsson. Justin Braun, 20-32. Marc-Edouard Vlasic, 22-30. Brendan Dillon with 16 minutes. And Joachim Ryan with 5 minutes. And after that goal was scored, where it deflected in on Joachim Ryan, he was riding the pine pony for pretty much the rest of the game. Kelsey, I mean, did you think that Ryan benching was deserved?
I don't know. I think that Peter DeBoer has some weird things that he does. He likes to bench players for weird things. I don't think that goal was necessarily his fault. And so I don't know if there's some background conversations that have been having with Ryan. Peter DeBoer has kind of been playing Ryan pretty sparingly in general in the playoffs. So I'm kind of expected it. I think that he kind of looks for a reason to sit Ryan, unfortunately. I feel like Ryan needs to get some more ice time in the regular season in order to play the amount of minutes that we need him in the postseason.
I totally agree. I think the other thing that Ryan also needs to bring is he needs to bring the physicality. When Ryan is physical, stepping up into the play, and he's got a great shot from the point as well. I think it's very underrated. But that is a player that needs to be physically engaged in order for him to really thrive, and playing very tentatively. I mean, he plays like a guy who's waiting for his spot to be taken, and not stepping up. And you know what, for a guy who kind of was a little bit of an unknown, you're kind of missing Shimmick right now, and a guy that really kind of helps stabilize Burns, but a physical presence on the blue line that they're kind of missing right now. Brendan Dillon doing an admirable job, but only playing 16 minutes. I think he's got some kind of underlying injury, because normally he would be attached at the hip with Erik Karlsson, but Erik Karlsson's been taking shifts with Braun, been taking shifts with Dillon, been taking shifts with Burns, especially in that third period when they're trying to generate some offense. So, the defense right now is a little, it's a little depleted. And again, it's just, you're just wondering when is that going to kind of come back to haunt them? When are these guys going to really start to lose momentum and kind of run out of gas? So hopefully that's not anytime soon, but I think it's something that we got to be watchful towards. Finally, we'll kind of get through to the last power play for the Sharks. At 10:37 in the third period, again, just very anemic, not great with the zone entries, and when they did set up, it was one and dones. And so you're staring down basically an 0 for 2 on the power play tonight, 0 for 5 for the Blues. Shots on goal 26-25 in favor of the Sharks. Face-offs 57-43% in favor of the Sharks. Hits 35-28 in favor of the Blues. Blocks 20-15 in favor of the Blues. Giveaways 15-12 in favor of the Sharks, and that's not a great a great stat to be leading in, unfortunately, and it definitely showed. So the Sharks again fall 4-2. The series is now tied 1-1. We shift back to St. Louis and the gateway to the West Arch. And hopefully we'll be shooting for a split on road ice to get the home ice advantage back in our favor. Well, folks, I think it's time for your favorite and my favorite portion of the show. It's the NHL reach around.
I have the goddamn conversation, Richard.
Well, there's only one other series to go around in this reach around, and that's Boston, Carolina. Boston leading 2-0 in their series. Brad Marchand playing the ultimate pest, basically telling Justin Williams to go shove his C up where. And you know what? This looks like a series that, quite frankly, is Boston's to lose at this point. However, Carolina has not played a home game yet, but there are some questions now in goal. I believe Curtis McElhinney will get the start tomorrow, and Peter Mrazek will sit. Guys, I mean, initial thoughts on that series. Where do you think it's going? Kelsey, let's go ahead and start with you, since you're closer to the action than we are. Not by much, but
a lot closer. Since the beginning of the playoffs, I've had Sharks Carolina final. So I'm really rooting for Carolina here. I do think that McElhinney is going to start probably the next 2 games. I think that Peter Mrazek has something going on, that I think he's injured or something. And Peter Mrazek and McElhinney have pretty much been tandem all season long. So kind of makes sense to give them a tandem in the playoffs as well. I can't stand Brad Marchand to save my life. So I really just don't like him. Other than that, I just think that go Carolina.
The bunch of jerks. We hope for a long 7-game series, and we hope that the hate ratchets up a little bit. And let's hope that they beat each other to a pulp. Meanwhile, Al, what's your thoughts on that series, and where do you think it's going?
I mean, God, I can't remember the last time a Boston team did anything good in the playoffs. I mean, like February, January, October. No, like, was it like 3 years ago? No, it was just 2 months ago. Oh, God. What a spoiled brats Boston is. God.
Oh, I totally agree. I hate Boston sports
Oh,
with
God.
passion.
I can't believe they must be going crazy with just 1 month of just no championships. God.
Yeah, I know, right? My dad being a New Yorker, I'm bred to hate Boston. So there we go. So Al, but I mean, on a
All
more
right.
serious note,
On
though,
a more serious note, I think it's going to be 4-0 Boston. Boston. Marchand has been fantastic. And honestly, watching the 6-2 demolish on Mother's Day, Rask is playing up to his top game. Honestly, you're hoping it's 4-0, and then hopefully the Sharks make it. That way, Boston doesn't have the speed going into the playoffs that they do, or the Stanley Cup final the way they do right now. But honestly, it's Boston's dilute. I can't see Carolina even sniffing a game 6 or 7.
yeah, I mean, from right now, unless you get the ghost of Cam Ward to come out of Curtis McElhaney somehow, I totally agree with you. I just feel like Boston is just in Carolina's head at the moment. Carolina is trying to play a physical game, and they're not suited for that kind of a game. So really, they need to get home. They need to get their matchups on the ice, and they need to play their style, that run and gun, high tempo kind of style, because Boston is just a big, heavy kind of team. And if you outwork them and you're quicker to pucks than they are, I mean, that really bodes well. But again, we're going to have to see a lot more from Carolina. Rod Brindamore has got to pull some magic at home.
I think it would be the first time that since Carolina swept the Islanders and the Islanders swept the Penguins, that you would have that sort of situation. All three leading up to the finals. That weird coincidence of the team sweeping to the Stanley Cup Finals. I don't think that's ever happened.
Yeah, I mean, these playoffs have definitely been full of a lot of interesting storylines. That being said, again, if you hadn't tuned into Hockey Central at noon today, and go grab the podcasts from them because they're awesome. Talking about Boston just kind of dictating play, and for Carolina to scratch and crawl back into the series, they're going to have to play their game, and they're going to have to realize that the more that they try to play Boston's game, the more they are, basically falling into the trap. So, you know what? They've got to get back to what makes it work for them. And the Sharks have to kind of get back to what was working with them in game one. I mean, I definitely think that tonight was a symptom of a lack of energy. I also feel like tonight they kind of got away from their game of just getting pucks on net, looking for the rebounds. Jordan Binnington is definitely human, and he's definitely giving up a lot of rebounds. So this is a guy that if you kind of get into his head, he has not been in this situation before. It's ripe for the taking. So my keys to the game on Wednesday. By the way, that's a 5 p.m. Pacific start time, right?
Yes, I can do a quick check on it.
Yeah, let's double check that. But the Sharks don't have to face any kind of altitude this time, so they don't have to battle the elements, basically. But to me, they really need to blitz the St. Louis Blues early, win that first immediate face-off, get the puck down into the end, and just go to work. Just have Bernsey and Eric firing off from the blue line, trying to get tips, deflections, screen the goaltender. I mean, really, they need to kind of come out with that all-out blitz in the first 5 minutes and kind of just stun St. Louis to really get the game going in their favor. Al, what are your keys going into Game 3?
Keys going to Game 3. I need Eric Carlson to show up. I think he's been decent, but I think it's time for him to score, put some points on the board. He hasn't scored in 2019 all year, not just the playoffs, or the regular season. It's time for him to score. Put some pucks on the net, make the simple play, make it easy. You can't rely on Logan. It's nice that he's been doing everything, but you need Hurl, you need Kane, you need Meyer, and you need Jones to be Jones. Not revert to games 1, 2, 3, 4. That's about it.
Kelsey, what are your keys to Game 3, and what are you expecting to see out of the Sharks Game 3?
I'm expecting a huge pushback. I think that you need to get Bennington moving across this crease. He's very poor when he's got to go from one side of the one post to the other. So I really think that we need to get back to Sharks hockey and stop trying to play St. Louis Blues hockey.
Right. And again, kind of what I said, you've just got to blitz them early, because this team, St. Louis, is very much a team that you could question their mental fragility. You could question their goaltender's ability to really get past ugly goals getting put into them, and really you just got to kind of rattle them, and that's what the Sharks do when they're on their game. They are just pedal to the metal and not giving an inch. That being said, we're gonna give an inch to Al. Al, where can the people find you, and what are you up to these days?
You can find me on Twitter at Al Martinet. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. This is my last week at NBC Bay Area, so a lot of unknowns, but talking hockey, talking sports, talking basketball, talking hockey. Yeah, find me on Twitter. I'm always there.
All right, and Kelsey, where can the good people find you, and any last thoughts?
You can find me on Twitter at Seymour Hockey. SEAMORE hockey. I'm really not doing much. Just kind of hanging out with my 6-month-old son.
Well, give little Henrik our best. And as far as where I am found, you can use my first name, that's Eric. Use my last name, that's Landi, on all the social media garbage to find me. And to find us, great segue. Catch us everywhere. If you missed anything, check us out on tealtownusa.com, or you can find the replay on your favorite podcatcher, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, and of course, YouTube for the video rewind. For everybody at Teal Town USA, we would like to thank you for stopping by. If you have not already, please subscribe, hit the little bell. That does us a favor. It also gets you access to those notifications that tell you when we go live. However, if you are a longtime listener, you know that we go live after every Sharks postgame. So, that being said, let's see if I screw this up. Keep it real. Keep it teal. Keep it real, Teal. Thank you, everybody, and have a great night, folks.